What's going on, everyone? I'm back again with another video, and today we're gonna sit down, we're gonna chill, we're just gonna talk about something today. And this topic kind of popped into my mind, not because it happened recently, but because it's been going on for many years now. And I've just been sitting back watching and observing, and it hasn't changed. It still hasn't changed to this day. And that is the fact that One Piece, the most successful manga in history, as far as I'm concerned, I think still doesn't have a game that is sort of universally considered as a great game. You know, there's many games that, you know, fans of the series or even people who are not too much big fans of the series can say, yeah, they had fun with, like, you know, Burning Blood. With my personally speaking here, Burning Blood, some of the Unlimited World games back when they were on Wii, either they were Unlimited or Treasure Cruise. Some of these other games, Pirate Warriors and things like that, the Musou game, where, you know, some people can say, yeah, these games I had fun with. But when I think of them and the way people talk about them online, they aren't treated the same way as, let's say, in Dragon Ball's case, how people would swear by the Budokai games, right? Or the Tenkaichi games. Well, at least 2 and 3, not the first one. That game, I mean, I remember back when I was younger, when that game first showed, I saw the advertising on TV. That game looked like it was so different from everything you've ever played, and, you know, I was so hyped for it back in the day. But then thinking back on that game, I played it, I mean, not recently, but as I was old, I played it, and it's woo, that game is something else. But, you know, those games, even Legacy of Goku 2, for going back to the Game Boy Advance, you know, so many people would say, Legacy of Goku 2 and Boost Fury, actually, people would say, you know, so many people would swear by those games, saying these are great games. Like, these are games that, you know, you can now, really, and still consider as a game that sort of a staple towards that series that it's based on, right? Even with Naruto, you've got the Storm series that, you know, so many people love. Even if you're not a massive fan of Naruto, you can still sort of pick the game up and say, yo, this is a good experience, this is a good time, they really created something here. But with One Piece, it's kind of just like everything is a hit or miss. You know, either when I go and ask anybody, oh, what did you think of Burning Blood? You either get, you know, I had fun with that game, or that game was trash, you know? Or, you know, with the Pirate Warriors game, you know exactly what you're going to get. It's a Musou game. It's going to be like Dynasty Warriors. It's going to be like all the Bleach games that came out. Well, not all the Bleach games, because Heat the Soul was like the fighting game. That was pretty cool, actually. I'm not going to lie. Even Bleach had something. Heat the Soul. Jesus Christ. But, you know, the other ones where they're kind of Musou games was only on the PS3. I forgot the name of the game, but with One Piece, again, I don't think there is anything where everyone would say that, you know, that game there, great experience from start to finish. They did something different, they did something cool with this franchise. It's usually just an average game at best, or even a really bad one. The most recent game that came out for One Piece, World Seeker, it was an open world game that shouldn't have been an open world game, because the game had an open world that was bare bones, dry, dead, lifeless, combat that was repetitive. You know, so many things in the game that was just, if you're a One Piece fan, maybe you can struggle through and enjoy the story, but as an overall game and an overall experience, it just isn't up to snuff. You could say the same thing about Burning Blood, even though I say Burning Blood is kind of cool. It's kind of still a weird kind of game because it's very slow. It's almost like sometimes it moves in slow motion, as compared with other arena anime brawlers that you could get, like Storm, or even like Xenoverse for Dragon Ball. You know, those games are much more action heavy. You can get more out of the games, and even now you can still see people playing those games, but you don't really see anybody talk about any of these One Piece games, considering the fact that it's one of the biggest anime, or, you know, it is the biggest manga in history. Like, even with that stature, the games don't really hold up. Now you can say the mobile games do, because obviously that Treasure Cruise is holding up and a lot of people play that, but in the console era and on PC, it's just not working. And you know, it got me thinking, why is this the case? Why is it that they can't get One Piece right? Is it sort of the formula of the game that doesn't make sense? But in my eyes, it doesn't seem too hard. Well, not hard, because obviously making a game is not an easy thing to do, especially making a game that so many people can enjoy, you know, like because, you know, so many people have so many different tastes. It's quite almost a miracle if you can make a game where universally people would say it's great, you know. I don't think a lot of developers get that enough credit for making experiences that so many different people can enjoy. It's quite a big task. But with One Piece, I don't know what it is. They keep trying to make these sort of action adventure RPG games. Well, not RPG. World Seeker was sort of almost like the first step into kind of trying to make an RPG with the open world and everything. But you can say the Unlimited World games kind of were RPGs before that. But the adventure aspect just doesn't come across well. You know, when you watch the show or you read the manga and they're traveling to different islands all over the place and they're going on this grand adventure, you don't get that from the games. Like, even though they try and do it, it just doesn't seem to work. And even combat wise, a lot of the time they make stuff that's kind of repetitive, even though, you know, so many different characters in the One Piece world have so many different crazy abilities and stuff to play around with. That it's kind of puzzling how they haven't taken advantage of that outside of games like the Pirate Warriors games. Because obviously with the Pirate Warriors games, they're Muso games, so if you don't know what that means, they're games where it's sort of a not tower defense. Is that the right word for it? I'm going to call it tower defense for now. If I'm wrong, then you can correct me in the comment section. But tower defense where, you know, you have a map and you have points where you have to, you know, fight back the enemies and secure the area and then move on to the next area. And then there'll be a boss that moves around the map and you have to go and find them and beat them to sort of finish the overall map. And I'm not explaining the Muso games correctly, but, you know, there'll be gameplay on the screen so you can see what that looks like. But, you know, with those games, they have quite wide move sets and they do all their moves that they're well known for, and it looks flashy and stuff like that. But again, it doesn't really, there's not that much impact in it because you're just knocking around waves and waves of enemies, and it's not really like a one-on-one battle kind of thing, which is why Burning Blood was kind of cool to me. And I like the way they kind of used haki and stuff like that, where you could hold a button to unlock haki so you can damage Logia type enemies and stuff like that. That was really cool. And that was a cool idea that should have been carried further. But in the case of One Piece, I'm still surprised that they haven't made a game where you actually jump on a ship, like the Sunny, or whether or not you create your own pirate crew or whatever. You jump on a ship and you just travel. Like, you just go on an adventure and you go to different islands and travel around and stuff like that. Because, you know, there have been quite a lot of games out there that are not anime games that have tackled this. Well, not quite a lot, but they've tackled this and done it quite okay. Like, you know, with Assassin's Creed Black Flag, even though I didn't play that game for a long time, the ship battles and stuff like that were kind of cool. Even though you don't really get ship battles in One Piece, you kind of just get people encountering each other in ships. But mostly they're online when, you know, big things happen. But I just think all the games that are out now are just missing that spark to help them reach that next level, to become games that people remember for many, many years. And since I'm not professional in the field of making video games, I can't really try and explain a way to make the greatest One Piece game ever, because the truth is I don't know the answer either. But it's just crazy how nobody else has found it either. You know what I mean? So if you have any suggestions, actually, I'd love to hear what you guys would think. Maybe they shouldn't make an RPG. Maybe they should make an action adventure game. Maybe they should stick with making fighting games like Burning Blood. Maybe that was an arena brawler. Maybe they should go to 2D fighting games. I know I've been on my previous videos. I've been calling out for 2D fighting games for other things. So I kind of didn't want to make this video about that today. I kind of wanted to try and branch out to a different genre of video games. Maybe even, but I don't know, turn-based RPG I don't know if that would go down well with a lot of fans, because obviously a lot of people who play these anime games are not really too fond of that. They would rather play those action adventure titles where you're fully in command of your characters and stuff like that. So, or maybe they just have made it, but they just didn't make it well. Like in the case of World Seeker, because World Seeker looked cool from the beginning, but when you actually play the game, it's very So maybe they could build upon what they have already done. And also, just before we go, I mean, I know we're over 10 minutes actually for the video, but in terms of the story, what I believe is that when you're making anime games, I think developers should focus more on creating original stories rather than having retelling the original manga on anime, because I think by this point, especially with Dragon Ball, I mean, after playing Dragon Ball Z Kakarot, it's just finally dawned on me that, you know what, this isn't worth doing all over again after I've seen it so many times. I think even though with One Piece or with other series we might not have seen it as much as Dragon Ball, but it just sort of gave me the realization that maybe it's just worth having original stories to play rather than just retelling stuff that happened. And don't get me wrong, I like reenacting the original moments in the manga and anime as much as the next person, because sometimes you see an epic moment in the manga and anime, and when you see it in the game, it's kind of exciting to sort of replay that, be in the character's shoes. Like, say for instance, the main character goes through this crazy transformation and they fight this crazy boss, you know. Being able to interact with that in a video game is fun, definitely, but I feel as though it makes it that much better if it's an original one and the character does transform into something original and they fight another boss that you've never seen before. That still gives you the same, maybe it doesn't give you that nostalgia effect or that reminiscence and stuff like that, but it does give you the same entertainment and hype value from that moment if it's done well. So in that regard, I think that's also something that they should start exploring more. They did it with World Seeker, and I heard the story was pretty good. Just you have to slug through hours of kind of mediocre to bad gameplay in order to get through it. But if it was all a tightly knit package, kind of like my example, well, this is not an original story, but like in the case of Storm 2, I feel as though that was the best Storm game out of all the ones, because it had a story mode that was nice to play through, but also the gameplay was very fun and entertaining throughout. So you kind of just never had a dull moment when you're playing the game, and I feel as though that's probably the approach that a lot of people should go with if you're making an action adventure game. Obviously, if you're making a different kind of game, then it's obviously a different story. But man, when you kind of have many trends now, the new trend is open world with nothing in it. Before, the trend was create your own character, which I'm not too big of a fan. I don't really care about character creation that much, to be honest. I like playing as the characters in the series that I like. Like if I want to play a One Piece game, I want to play as Luffy, Zoro, Sanji, and all those characters there. Not really my own pirate. I mean, it's a nice addition, but I don't want it to be the main thing about the game. I'd rather play as the characters I actually followed throughout this series and grew to love. But you know, that's all I have to say about this for now. What do you guys think? Do you think One Piece does have a great game that everyone loves? Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm looking at it wrong and I'm thinking, maybe I'm just going too much off of my perspective. Maybe in your perspective you think it's different. Let me know in the comment section below. And I will see. Sorry, my screen just blacked out. I thought my whole PC shut down. What the? Anyway, yeah. Let me know in the comment section below and tell me if there's an anime that you think needs a video game. Or, I mean, I think I'll probably make a video on anime that do need a video game, because obviously One Piece has many video games. But an anime series that you think has some games, but they haven't reached the peak, or they haven't reached the level of quality of games that you think that series deserves. Let me know about that in the comment section below. I hope you guys have a nice day, or if you're having a nice day already before the video, continue having a nice day. I hope nothing happens, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.